Fool's cuff, take 1,624. Ow!
Keep your finger out of there.
We got what's called a bite in the middle of the rope here, just fold it over, 2 free ends. We're going to go around this winch, insert the 2 free ends through that center loop or bite, snug it up, straighten out the ropes if necessary. You now have a very basic knot, which is sometimes called a lark's head or sometimes a cow hitch for hitching up your cow. The cows tend to not appreciate that, as Tai-Pan points out correctly. So lark's head's a good name for that. Now, if you're going to do another pass around, you might be tempted to go this way to tighten up the knot. I'm going to go in the other direction, kind of the opposite of the intuitive way. So I'm going to kind of hold that steady, run around one more time here, and notice that the rope, in doing this, has a nice kind of 4-stranded bracelet, nice and even, creates a nice looking tie that won't tighten. The goal is to create a tie that won't tighten up on the winch. Like such. We now have a knot that mountaineers might call a prusik, P-R-U-S-I-K, named after Dr. Karl Prusik, the Austrian mountaineer who invented it. The only difference between this cuff and the prusik was designed to tighten up when it was pulled. See, that will tighten up if it's pulled. We're going to tie the prusik off with a plain knot called a half hitch to prevent it from tightening up. I'm going to run the entire rope underneath the sort of bracelet part here, the 4 strands. You want to keep it fairly loose at this stage. So the whole rope, the 2 free ends, are going to run underneath the bracelet. Doesn't matter which direction, you can go from bottom to top, top to bottom. Comes underneath. And as I'm running it, as I'm snugging it up, I'm going to hold a little bit out. Keep a little loop out of it so it doesn't all go underneath the rope, underneath the bracelet. This is a fairly important phase here. So a little loop held back, right? At this phase of the game, you can adjust the tightness of the bracelet very precisely by tugging on this piece you're holding back. You can get very exact adjustment. The 2 free ends that have passed underneath the bracelet are not going to go back through this loop, creating a simple knot called a half hitch, which will secure this prusik knot and keep it from tightening. Keeping in mind the original purpose of the climbing knot called the prusik was to tighten up. The purpose of this knot is to not tighten up. So we kind of cinch it off with a half hitch here. You can adjust it to lie flat. That's the Fool's cuff, named after myself, Philip the Foole, by Tai-Pan, the fellow taking this video. I am Philip the Foole, at your service.